If you are listening to this because you are worried about vaping, I want to start by saying something important. Take a deep breath. You are not a bad parent for being here. In fact, seeking to understand the why before you react is the single most powerful tool you have. Many of us grew up in a world where the dangers of smoking were broadcast in black and white, grim, obvious, and universally warned against. Vaping is different. It is packaged, scented, and often hidden in plain sight. It's easy to feel blindsided, panicked, or even betrayed when you realize it has entered your home. But panic rarely leads to connection, and it is connection that will eventually lead your child toward the better choices you hope they make. Think about the last time you felt truly understood. Think about how much more willing you were to listen to advice when you knew the person offering it wasn't there to judge or correct you, but to learn alongside you. Your teenager is currently living in a landscape of immense pressure. They are navigating social hierarchies, academic demands, and a constant, buzzing digital world that tells them how to look, how to act, and how to feel. For many, vaping isn't just about the nicotine. It's a symptom of something else. It is a way to bridge the gap between who they are and who they feel they need to be to survive the day. When we see a child vaping, our first instinct is often to focus on the device. We want to take it, break it, and demand an explanation. Why would you do something so stupid? Is a question that often leaps to our lips. But imagine if, instead of asking, why, we pause to consider the what. What is this device doing for them? Is it a way to calm their nerves? Is it a social passport that helps them feel included in a group that feels just as lost as they do? Is it a way to feel in control of their own biology when everything else in their life feels chaotic or prescribed by adults? Understanding the why doesn't mean condoning the behavior. It means gaining a vantage point that allows you to address the root, rather than just the symptom. If we only fight the device, we are fighting a losing battle because the device is just the messenger. The message is usually about anxiety, the need for belonging, or the desire for a momentary escape from a world that feels increasingly high stakes. Let's look at the reality of their environment. Modern teen life is incredibly fast-paced. They are bombarded with information and images at a rate we never had to deal with. When they feel overwhelmed, their brains, which are still under construction, are wired to seek relief. If they haven't learned other, healthier ways to process stress or boredom, they will reach for whatever is easily accessible. Unfortunately, the vaping industry has worked very hard to make sure their products are just that: accessible, discreet, and flavored to mask the harshness of the experience. It's easy to look at our teens and think they are making poor choices simply because they aren't thinking about the long-term consequences. But we have to remember that the teenage brain is essentially a high-performance sports car with a brand new driver at the wheel. The engine is powerful, their emotions, their social drives, and their desire for independence. But the brakes, which represent impulse control and long-term planning, are still being installed. When you realize that your teen is literally operating with a developing nervous system, it shifts the dynamic. It stops being a battle of wills and starts being a process of coaching. As we move forward together, we are going to explore how to bridge this divide. We will talk about how to open up conversations that don't lead to defensive doors slamming shut. We will look at how to build a home environment where your child feels safe enough to be honest with you, even when they've made a mistake. And most importantly, we will look at how you can become the steady anchor they need as they navigate these complicated waters. You are not here to police their lives. You are here to guide their development. And that starts by understanding the world they are living in, not just the one you remember. When we talk about the why behind teen vaping, We have to move past the idea that it's just about being rebellious or trying to look cool. While that might play a part, it is rarely the whole story. For many teens, vaping acts as a self-regulation tool. It is a quick, chemical way to adjust their emotional state. Think about a stressful day you've had. Maybe you were overwhelmed with work, feeling disconnected from someone you love, or just exhausted by the noise of the world. Now, imagine you are 15. Imagine your social life is managed entirely through group chats. Your academic worth is measured in grades that feel like personal indictments, and you are constantly being told you need to figure out your future. The pressure is unrelenting. In that context, a nicotine hit isn't just a bad habit. It is a momentary pause button. It's a way to feel something different, to take a deep breath that feels chemically induced, and to step out of the stress for a few seconds. This is why traditional scare tactics, showing them pictures of damaged lungs or listing health statistics, often fall flat. A teenager, particularly one who is already stressed, isn't thinking about 40 years in the future. They are thinking about the next 20 minutes. They are thinking about the chemistry of their right now. When we approach them with fear-based arguments, we are effectively speaking a different language. We are talking about long-term health, while they are looking for immediate emotional relief. It's also important to acknowledge the role of belonging. Adolescence is a developmental stage defined by a shift in focus. Up until this point, their world revolved primarily around the family unit. Now, the gravitational pull has shifted toward their peers. They are hardwired to seek connection with others their age. If that peer group includes people who vape, the device becomes a key. It's an easy way to enter a conversation, to mimic the behaviors of the people they admire, or to simply feel like they are in on it. It provides a sense of uniformity. When you realize that the behavior is often driven by a fundamental human desire for connection and safety, it changes how you look at the device in their room. It stops being an act of defiance and starts being a desperate attempt to find a foothold in their social world. Many parents ask me, if they are stressed, why not just talk to me? Why reach for a device? That is the central question of our journey together. The truth is, many teens don't come to us because they don't believe we can handle what they have to say. They fear that if they open up about their stress, their anxiety, or their feelings of inadequacy, we will immediately jump to fixing it, or worse, telling them why they shouldn't feel that way. Think about how you respond when your child tells you they are struggling. Do you immediately offer a solution? Do you point out that it's not that bad in the grand scheme of things? Even if we are right, that response can feel dismissive to a teen. They want to be heard, not corrected. If they feel that being honest with you will result in a lecture, they will find other, quieter ways to manage their pain. Vaping is silent. It doesn't require a conversation. It doesn't ask for permission. It's a solitary comfort in a world that feels increasingly crowded and demanding. The goal, then, is to become the person they want to talk to, even when they're struggling. This requires us to change our own reactions. When they do something we disapprove of, our nervous systems often jump into protect and correct mode. We get louder, we get firmer, and we lean into our authority. But if we want to get past the cloud of the behavior, we have to model the emotional regulation we want them to learn. We have to show them that we can handle the truth, even the parts that disappoint us. If they feel that our love and our willingness to listen are not dependent on their perfection, the need for that secret pause button begins to diminish. You are creating a space where they don't need to hide because they know you are in their corner, not just waiting to catch them in a mistake. This shift doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen by just taking the vape away. It happens in the small, consistent interactions where you show your teen that their inner world matters more to you than their outward compliance. It's about building a relationship that is strong enough to survive the hard conversations. And that is exactly what we are going to learn how to do. Sooner or later, many of us face the moment we dread. We find the device, or we catch a whiff of that telltale, sweet-scented vapor. In that heartbeat, your mind might race with a dozen different scenarios. You might feel betrayed, angry, or deeply worried about the long-term damage this could do to their health. If you find yourself standing in that room with the device in your hand, pause. Before you say a word, remember, your reaction in these first few minutes will determine whether this becomes a wall or a bridge. If you storm in with accusations, their natural, immediate response will be to build a wall of defensiveness. They will shut down, hide more effectively, or deflect the blame. But if you take a breath and enter the conversation with curiosity, you have a chance to change the entire dynamic. Instead of starting with "how could you?" or "are you stupid?", try starting with the truth of your own emotions. You might say, "I found this in your backpack, and I have to be honest. I'm feeling really worried right now because I care about your health." This approach isn't about hiding your concern. It's about framing it in a way that is honest but not attacking. It shows them that your reaction comes from a place of love, not a desire to punish. When you bring it up, prepare for them to be defensive. It's part of the territory. They might try to brush it off, claim it's not theirs, or tell you it's just flavored water without nicotine. Keep your cool. Avoid getting into a debate about the technicalities of the device in that moment. Your goal isn't to win an argument, it is to open a channel of communication. Ask questions that invite them to share their experience, not just defend their actions. What is it about vaping that you found appealing? Or, "I know there's a lot of pressure to fit in. Is that what's happening here?" By asking these questions, you are signaling that you are willing to listen to the real reasons, even if those reasons are hard to hear. You might find out they're dealing with social anxiety, or that they feel like they're the only one in their friend group who isn't doing it. When they feel heard, the shame often starts to peel away, and that is where the real work of support can begin. If they admit to it, thank them for their honesty. It might feel counterintuitive to thank a child for doing something you disapprove of, but remember, you want them to feel safe telling you the truth. If they know that honesty will be met with a calm, supportive reaction rather than an explosion of anger, they are much more likely to come to you the next time they face a tough situation. Remember, you are not their enemy, and you aren't fighting their character. You are fighting a marketing machine designed by companies that don't care about your child's future. You are on the same side. When you can position yourself as an ally who is helping them navigate a complex, confusing world, you take the power away from the secret and place it back into the relationship. This isn't about being cool or permissive. You can still set clear boundaries, like saying that vaping is not allowed in your home or your car, while maintaining a posture of support. But if you hold those boundaries with warmth rather than cold judgment, you keep the door open. You show them that you trust them enough to have the hard conversations and that you are committed to helping them figure out the what's next together. Once the initial discovery is behind you and the immediate tension has settled, the real work begins. We need to transition from policing to coaching. Many parents tell me they struggle to find the right words to talk about vaping without it sounding like a lecture they've given 1,000 times before. The secret is to stop focusing on the don'ts and start focusing on their internal world. Think about how you talk to your own friends when they are struggling with a habit or a hard situation. You don't list off the negative consequences of their actions. They usually already know those facts. You ask questions that help them process their own thoughts. You might say, "What's going on for you lately?" Or, "How are you handling the pressure at school?" We need to bring that same level of genuine inquiry to our teens. When we constantly nag, we are unintentionally teaching our teens that we don't believe they can make good decisions for themselves. We are signaling that we think they need us to manage their behavior because they aren't capable of it. But if we pivot toward curiosity, we foster their sense of autonomy. Ask, what are the situations where you feel the urge to use it? Or are there times when it actually makes you feel worse afterward? Often, teens report that vaping makes them feel jittery, nauseous, or even more anxious once the quick hit wears off. If you can help them notice these physical cues for themselves, you are empowering them to become the expert on their own biology. You aren't telling them how they should feel. You are helping them pay attention to how they actually feel. Be prepared for "I don't know" as an answer. It's a common teenager defensive reflex. If you get that response, don't press. Just say, "I get it." It's a hard thing to put into words. I'm here whenever you do want to talk about it. That simple acknowledgement keeps the line of communication open. It tells them, "I'm not going to force this, but I'm not going anywhere, and I'm ready when you are." It's also crucial to identify what they are looking for in those moments. Are they bored? Are they trying to handle social anxiety? Are they feeling lonely? If they are vaping to deal with boredom, perhaps you can look at adding more engaging, high dopamine activities into your family life, like spontaneous weekend trips, learning a new skill together, or just protecting time for hobbies they used to love but dropped. If they are vaping for social reasons, help them practice exit strategies. Role-play what they can say when a friend offers them a device. Keep it light, maybe even a little funny. "Nah, not my thing," or "I'm trying to save my money for something else," or simply, "I'm good." Giving them a few pre-practiced phrases can lower the social cost of saying no. Finally, remember that your tone of voice is just as important as your words. If you sound like an interrogator, you will get the answers of a suspect. If you sound like a partner, you will get the answers of a human being. Speak with the same warmth you would use if they had just told you they were scared about a math test. They are dealing with something that feels bigger than them, and they need to know that you are the safest place in the world to land. It is common to hear parents suggest that a teen simply needs more willpower to stop vaping. But this misunderstands the biology of what is happening. Nicotine is an exceptionally efficient neurochemical. It doesn't just provide a momentary feeling. It interacts directly with the brain's reward centers, effectively hijacking the system that tells the brain what is important. When your teen uses a vape, they are flooding those reward centers with dopamine, a chemical that signals pleasure and satisfaction. Over time, the brain begins to expect this artificial influx. When they don't have the device, the brain may interpret that lack of nicotine as a deficiency, which manifests as irritability, increased anxiety, or a literal inability to focus on anything else. This isn't a lack of character or a failure of their upbringing. It is a physiological feedback loop. If you are trying to help your teen quit, it is vital to acknowledge this physical reality. If you treat their struggle as a simple choice they are refusing to make, you will likely find yourself frustrated, and they will likely feel misunderstood. Instead, frame it as a partnership in managing a difficult chemical cycle. You aren't asking them to just be stronger. You are helping them navigate a challenge that is biologically rigged to be difficult. Think about how you might handle a different physical challenge. If your child was struggling with a sport injury, you wouldn't tell them to just walk it off. You would look for physical therapy, ice, rest, and perhaps a strategy to gradually get back to full mobility. We should view quitting nicotine through a similar, compassionate lens. It is a process of physical withdrawal and psychological readjustment. There will be days when the irritability is high. There will be moments where they feel like they can't handle the stress of school without that crutch. In those moments, avoid the temptation to tell them that it's all in their head. To them, the physical craving is incredibly real. Acknowledge it. I know it's really hard right now. Your body is adjusting, and that feels really uncomfortable. You are doing a hard thing, and I'm proud of you for sticking with it. This validation is a powerful antidote to the shame that often accompanies addiction. Shame makes the addiction stronger because it drives the person further into secrecy. When you validate the struggle, you take the power away from the shame. You make it a problem you are solving together, rather than a failing you are holding against them. Additionally, pay attention to the cues that trigger their cravings. Is it the morning before school? Is it right after they get off the bus? Is it when they are gaming? If you can help them identify these patterns, you can help them build new, healthy habits that replace the vaping. If they crave it while gaming, perhaps they can replace the device with a fidget toy, a drink of cold water, or even a different type of snack. We are looking for replacement behaviors that offer a small, sensory comfort without the harmful chemistry. Remember that their brain is still wired to want that dopamine hit. You are helping them retrain their brain to find satisfaction in other places. This takes time, patience, and a lot of grace. There may be setbacks. A setback is not a failure. It is just data. It tells you what situations are still triggers and what strategies need to be adjusted. Keep your perspective steady. One moment of weakness does not undo all the progress they have made. If we want to help our teens move away from vaping, we have to look at the environment they live in. If their world is exclusively high pressure and low connection, the temptation to escape will always be high. Resilience isn't something a child is just born with. It's a muscle that is built through the quality of their relationships and the safety of their home. Consider what your home feels like after a long day. Is it a place where they have to perform, or is it a place where they can just be? When a teen feels the need to hide a device, it is often because they feel their worth is tied to meeting our expectations. If they feel that we only see them as the good kid, or the student, or the athlete, they may feel like they have no room to be imperfect. And when they inevitably feel imperfect, they reach for something to soothe that feeling. Creating an environment of resilience means normalizing the messiness of being human. It means that in our home, it is okay to be stressed. It is okay to have a bad day. And it is okay to talk about things that are uncomfortable. When you share your own challenges, not to complain, but to show that everyone deals with stress, you build a bridge. You show them that you are also learning how to manage your own life and that you don't have all the answers either. This lowers the barrier of perfectionism that so many teens feel trapped by. Another way to build this resilience is through micro-connections. These aren't deep, soul-searching conversations about their life choices. These are the small, low-stakes moments where you show interest in their world simply because they are part of yours. Maybe it's asking about the game they're playing, sitting with them while they watch a video, or just bringing them a snack while they're working. These moments build emotional capital. They fill their cup, even if just a little bit, so they don't feel as empty or as desperate for that external dopamine hit. You also have to think about what relaxation looks like in your family. If the only way your family handles stress is by scrolling on phones or retreating to separate rooms, that's the behavior they will model. Try to create opportunities for active, connected relaxation. It could be something as simple as a walk, a card game, or cooking a meal together where the goal isn't to be productive, but to be present. When they learn that they can get a sense of peace and belonging through connection, they become less dependent on the chemical peace that vaping provides. Finally, empower them to be part of the solution. If they are trying to quit, ask them, what would be most helpful from me? Some teens might want you to check in, while others might find that intrusive. Some might want to talk about their triggers, while others just want you to be a calm presence in the room. When you invite them to lead the process, you are showing them respect. You are telling them, I believe in your ability to navigate this, and I am here to help you in the way that works best for you. This shift requires us to move away from being the directors of their lives to becoming their consultants. We are there to offer perspective, provide support, and hold the vision for who they can be, even when they're struggling to see it themselves. This creates an environment where they don't have to hide, because they know you are their biggest advocate. One of the most difficult parts of teen vaping is the social environment. For your teen, the people they spend their time with are their entire world. If their core friend group is vaping, the device isn't just an object, it's a membership card. To say no or to quit can feel like a direct threat to their social standing. They aren't just worried about the nicotine. They are worried about being ostracized, being called boring, or losing the only people they feel truly understand them. We have to handle this with deep empathy. If you approach this by telling them, you need to find better friends, you are setting yourself up for an immediate battle. They will feel like you are attacking their community, and they will instinctively double down to protect those connections. Instead, help them understand the dynamic of their own social world without being critical of the individuals in it. Ask, what does it feel like for you when everyone else is doing it and you're not? This question helps them voice the internal conflict they're feeling. By naming the pressure, you help them see it for what it is, an external force, rather than a failing of their own personality. When they can acknowledge, yeah, it feels like I'm the odd one out, that is a huge step. You can then validate that, saying, it makes total sense that you feel that way. It's hard to feel like you're doing something different than your friends. From there, you can help them brainstorm strategies. This is where social scripts come into play. It feels a bit silly, but role-playing these moments at home can be incredibly effective. Ask them what they think their friends will actually say if they decide to stop. Will they really tease them, or is that just a fear? And if they do get teased, what's the best way to handle it? Some teens find power in a health-focused stance. I'm just trying to get my lungs in better shape for the sport they play, the activity they like. Others prefer a low-effort excuse. I'm honestly just too lazy to keep up with buying pods. Let them find an explanation that feels authentic and comfortable to them. You aren't trying to make them the cool kid. You are trying to give them the tools to hold their ground without feeling like they have to defend their existence. Also, look for ways to broaden their circle outside of that specific environment. Are there other activities, youth groups, coding clubs, sports teams, or volunteer opportunities, where they can find connection with kids who don't prioritize vaping? You don't have to force them into a new social life, but you can quietly provide opportunities for them to experience belonging in spaces where the pressure to vape doesn't exist. The goal is to help them realize that they can be a valued, liked, and popular member of a group without compromising their own well-being. It's about building their confidence in their own identity so that their sense of self isn't entirely dependent on what their friends are doing. When they know who they are and they know you're in their corner, they stop needing the device as a way to earn their place at the table. There is a significant difference between a teen who is experimenting out of curiosity and one who has developed a dependency that is beginning to impact their life. If you notice that your teen's personality is changing, if they are becoming consistently irritable, withdrawn, or if they are dropping hobbies and grades they once cared about, you may be looking at more than just a passing phase. In these moments, it is vital to remember that seeking professional support isn't a sign of defeat. It is a sign of being a proactive, wise parent who understands when a situation requires more tools than you have at home. When should you reach out for help? If you've tried to have calm, open conversations, and you still see that your teen is struggling to regulate their emotions, or if the vaping seems to be a clear mechanism for masking deeper issues like persistent anxiety, depression, or a lack of self-worth, it's time to consult with a professional. This could be a school counselor, a pediatrician, or a therapist who specializes in adolescent development. Many parents fear that bringing in a professional will make their teen feel broken or judged. To counter this, frame the visit in terms of empowerment. You aren't going to a doctor to have them fixed. You are going to a specialist who can help them build a better toolkit for their brain. You have a lot of pressure on you right now, and I've noticed you seem really stressed. I think it would be great for you to have someone to talk to who is an expert in how to manage that stress effectively. When you use language like this, you are telling your teen that their mental well-being is a priority. You are also shifting the focus away from the behavior, vaping, and toward the person, their overall health. A professional can offer objective strategies, non-judgmental support, and in some cases, clinical guidance that you, as a parent, cannot provide because you are too emotionally involved in the outcome. Also, be prepared to look at the big picture. Sometimes, vaping is just the tip of the iceberg. A therapist can help you and your teen explore what's happening underneath. Are they struggling with undiagnosed ADHD, which makes them feel like they need constant stimulation? Are they dealing with a form of social anxiety that feels overwhelming? Sometimes, the underlying cause needs to be addressed before the vaping behavior can truly stop. Remember, the goal is always the same: a healthy, confident, and connected child. If that goal requires an extra set of hands, that is a strength, not a weakness. There is no shame in realizing that some challenges are best navigated with the help of a guide. You are demonstrating to your child that when life gets overwhelming, it is not only okay to reach out for help. It is the smartest, bravest thing you can do. We often focus so much on what our teens are doing that we forget the most powerful tool we have: ourselves. Your teen is constantly watching. They are observing how you handle stress, how you react to problems, and how you find comfort at the end of a difficult day. If you tell them you need to find healthier ways to cope, but they see you turning to your own numbing habits, whether it's excessive social media scrolling, alcohol, overworking, or constant complaining, they will register the discrepancy. They listen to what you say, but they learn from what you do. This isn't about being perfect. Perfection is not only impossible, it's actually intimidating to a teen. If you are perfect, they can't relate to you, and they certainly don't feel safe enough to share their own imperfections. Instead, focus on being real. When you are stressed, talk about it in a way that models regulation. You might say, "I had a really rough meeting today, and I'm feeling pretty frazzled. I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk to clear my head before I start dinner." By doing this, you are showing them the process of self-regulation. You are demonstrating that feelings are manageable, that stress is a normal part of life, and that there are healthy, proactive ways to change your emotional state. You are giving them a roadmap, not just a lecture. Think about the atmosphere of your home. Does it feel like a place where everyone is constantly on, or is it a place where it is safe to be tired? When you honor your own need for rest and healthy outlets, you normalize that for them. If they see you choosing to read, exercise, or engage in a hobby that brings you joy, you are subtly showing them that there are ways to feel good that don't involve a device or a chemical shortcut. You can also model how to handle the inevitable bad days. If you lose your temper or make a mistake, own it. "I'm sorry I got snappy earlier. I was feeling really overwhelmed and I took it out on you. I'm going to try to do better." That kind of vulnerability is disarming. It shows them that you are human, that you hold yourself accountable, and that you are constantly growing. It creates a culture of transparency in your home. When your teen sees that you are committed to your own growth, they feel less alone in their own struggles. They realize that life is a continuous process of learning how to better manage our minds and bodies. You become a partner in the human experience rather than an authority figure handing down commands from on high. This takes the pressure off of you to fix them and puts the focus back on growing together. When they see you trying, failing, and trying again, they learn that those are the building blocks of resilience, and that is the most important lesson you can ever teach them. As we reach the conclusion of this journey, I want you to step back and look at the bigger picture. Parenting a teen in the age of vaping is a profound challenge, but it is also an incredible opportunity to deepen your connection. If you have listened to these chapters and felt the weight of the task ahead, I want you to remember that the goal is not to win the war against a device. The goal is to build a relationship so strong that your teen wants to grow, to thrive, and to stay connected to you, even when the world outside tries to pull them in a different direction. Think about the years ahead. Soon, your teen will be an adult. They will be out in the world, making decisions on their own, navigating pressures you can't even see. The guidance you are providing right now isn't just about stopping a habit today. It's about equipping them with the emotional intelligence to navigate their own lives forever. When you choose curiosity over judgment, when you choose connection over control, you are teaching them that they are capable, they are loved, and they are worth more than a quick, fleeting escape. There will be days when you feel like you're failing. There will be days when they pull away or when you feel like your words are hitting a wall. That is normal. Parenting is not a straight line of progress. It is a series of small, rhythmic shifts. Keep showing up. Keep offering that calm, steady presence. Keep being the person who is curious about their life rather than the person who is just scanning for problems. Your teen is fighting a battle to find themselves in a world that is loud, demanding, and often confusing. By being their anchor, you aren't just protecting them from a habit. You are helping them build an identity. You are showing them that they don't need a chemical pause button to handle their emotions because they have a parent who helps them process the world, a home that provides a safe harbor and the internal strength to face what comes next. As you move forward, keep these three truths at the heart of your home. First, your child is more important than their behavior. No mistake they make can break the foundation of your love. Second, understanding is the first step to any change. When they feel truly understood, they become much more open to your influence. And third, small, consistent changes yield the biggest results. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving toward more patience, more connection, and more honest communication. You have the tools you need. You have the heart of a parent who cares enough to listen, to learn, and to adapt. Trust your instincts, lean into the moments of connection, and remember that every time you choose to listen instead of lecture, you are building a bridge that will last a lifetime. You are doing a harder, more important job than most people realize. Take heart, stay steady, and continue to lead with love. Your teen is lucky to have you in their corner, and the effort you are putting in today is the foundation for the healthy, resilient adult they are becoming.